Have you noticed the signs? They just stopped all of a sudden. Not a few weeks ago, not months ago. This has happened recently, right? See, for a long time, it felt like the universe was always trying to get your attention. You would glance at the clock and it would be the same time every single day over and over again. Certain conversations would arrive exactly when you needed to hear that conversation. A random song would start playing and it would answer a question that you never even said out loud. Even your dreams, they felt so vivid that when you woke up, you couldn't stop thinking about that dream. It was almost as if life kept whispering, pay attention. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, nothing. I'm talking about crickets. And it's not because your life became easier. It's not because you stopped looking either. It just simply stopped. I mean, it's just silence. And at first you probably told yourself, well, maybe I'm just imagining this. Maybe you even thought that you just simply stopped noticing the signs and the synchronicities altogether. Maybe you even started wondering, man, am I doing something wrong right now? But what if that's the wrong question? What if the silence isn't proof there's something left you? What if it's proof that something has already changed, something has already shifted? See, most people, they spend their entire lives searching for dramatic moments. They expect transformation to arrive with just fireworks. They think that one morning they're going to wake up and then suddenly know that everything is different. But when it comes to changes, when it comes to big blessings, it doesn't arrive like that. Okay? Sometimes it arrives so quietly that the only thing you notice is what actually disappeared. Now, I want you to think about this for a second. When you're standing beside a busy freeway or a highway, you don't realize how loud it is until suddenly traffic just stops. The silence itself is what makes you realize the noise, it was there all along. Sometimes your own life, it works that same way, okay? The moments that used to grab your attention slowly just fade into the background. Not because they became meaningless to you, but because your attention itself has shifted. Now that can feel unsettling, okay? See, when it comes to the human mind, it doesn't like uncertainty. When familiar patterns just disappear all of a sudden, it's natural to start searching for explanations, to try to find out why did it stop, okay? You wonder whether you have missed something. You wonder if your blessing is still coming, whether you have failed, whether you have just somehow lost your way. But there is another possibility that you have to pay attention to, and that's the one that almost nobody considers, okay? Maybe you've become so focused on your next chapter of your life, on this blessing, that the things that once demanded your attention, all of a sudden it no longer stands in the same way to you anymore. It's like you don't focus on those things anymore, right? Now, have you noticed how after moving into a new house or maybe even a new apartment, okay, you eventually stop noticing the smell of fresh paint all of a sudden? The paint, it didn't disappear. The paint is still there, right? But your mind, it just simply adapted to it. Life is full of experiences like that, okay? It's full of it. Sometimes change isn't loud. Sometimes when it comes to change, it's so quiet that it rewrites the way you experience the whole world, okay? I'm telling you. And that's what makes this phase so strange, because on the outside, everything looks the same. You still wake up, you still go to work, you still drive down the same roads, you still talk to the same people, right? Nothing appears to be dramatically different. Yet something inside you keeps telling you, this doesn't feel like the version of my life I was living before. Something feels different right now. And that feeling, it's very, very difficult to describe. Not because it's imaginary, but because words usually arrive after the experience, not before it, okay? See, many people look back at quiet seasons in their lives and they realize they came just before a major change, okay? Unexpected opportunities or relationships that reshaped everything, okay? That doesn't necessarily mean that silence caused those changes, but it can make those quiet periods feel meaningful in hindsight if you look at it like that, okay? And maybe that's why this phase feels so emotionally confusing right now. You're waiting for another sign. You're waiting for another coincidence, another unmistakable moment. Instead, you're left with questions. And questions have a way of making us doubt ourselves, okay? Instead of thinking or asking, why did the signs disappear? You ask yourself something different. What has changed about me since I first started noticing these signs? That's what you have to start asking yourself, because sometimes the biggest shift isn't happening around you. It's happening in a way that you see the world. It's like your perspective has changed, okay? And when your perspective changes, the things that once felt extraordinary can begin to feel like parts of just everyday life. It feels normal, not because they're gone, but because you've outgrown just familiar with them, okay? Now that realization, it doesn't end mystery, okay? In many ways, it begins in a much deeper one, okay? A much deeper mystery, because if your perspective has changed without fully realizing it, what else has changed that you just haven't noticed yet, okay? See, before you leave this video, I want you to pay attention over the next few days, all right? I want you to pay attention over the next few days. Don't go looking for the signs. Don't force anything. Just observe, okay? Just analyze. Notice what feels different. Notice what suddenly stands out, and notice what quietly disappears, because sometimes the biggest change in your life, it doesn't begin when something new appears. It begins when something old quietly stops demanding your attention altogether. Maybe this silence isn't empty after all. Maybe it's making room for a version of your life that hasn't fully revealed itself yet. Whether you see it as a coincidence, personal growth, or something more, okay? Only time can answer that question, all right? Only time can answer that question. But if this message found you at this exact moment that you needed to hear this message, then maybe the silence wasn't the end of the conversation. Maybe it was just simply waiting for you to listen differently. Maybe it was just waiting for that. And if you've been experiencing these quiet moments during this phase lately, I hope this video today gave you something to reflect on, okay? Because I'm telling you, you are going to go through a period of silence right when everything is about to happen, okay? You will stop seeing the synchronicities. You will stop seeing the repeating numbers all the time, because you don't need to see it anymore, okay? That's the biggest confirmation, all right? You have already aligned yourself. It's already happening. The universe no longer has to confirm anything to you anymore, okay? That's because you have already done the work. You have already changed your mindset. You have already kept your faith high. You kept on believing when nobody else believed in you. You kept on believing. I'm telling you, you did the work, all right? You no longer need the confirmations anymore, all right? It's already here. It's about to happen. This is the only confirmation you need. You are the only confirmation you need, all right? Just know, expect it, and know that it can happen right now. It can happen any day now, all right? Just expect it without having attachment to it, all right? Without being desperate for it, all right? Now, thank you so much for tuning in to Millionaire Mindset, where everything happens in divine time by divine design, but you are the divine design. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment on this video, and hype this video up. Until the next video, Millionaire Mindset signing off.